welcome. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing today? It's so very nice to have you here. I really hope that all of you are doing well. There's so much going on in the world continuously right now. Politics, race, virus, economy. And even though this may be bringing up a lot of challenging things for you, and I want to say that it's so important to remember that whatever arises is okay, whatever is present. But there's also a really good side to that, which means the patterns of the past are so much more visible right now. And I'm sure you are noticing that in your own experience, but I'm also sure that you are noticing that in the world and around you and in others. And so even though on the one hand, again, this can be difficult, the challenges we are facing, the uncertainty we are facing still can be difficult. And yet for those of us who really love truth, for those of us who really are interested in awakening, embodiment, and freedom, this is a very powerful time in which we can so much more easily become aware of the patterns of the past. And so with practice, we can be so much more present to what arises here and very directly meet what arises here. And so today I wanted to speak a little bit about practice, because there's nothing more powerful in the universe than your own attention, the power of your attention, because that attention itself, that's presence. And when I say practice, because sometimes there is, understanding, misunderstanding about that. When I speak about practice, I'm not speaking about becoming presence, because presence already is. Sometimes practice, we think, well, if I do this and that, then I will be, my true nature, right? And here, we know that presence already is, that you are your true nature already. So you can check on this at any time, but of course now, let's take a moment. Here we are, presence is already here. And so when I speak about practice, I'm not speaking about becoming presence. I'm speaking about the ability to be here. I'm speaking about the capacity. And that's often also physiological, nervous system, brain situation. I'm speaking about capacity, your capacity to meet what arises. Because so often, and you know that yourself, but I would just share this, so often I meet people, students who really have a strong desire for truth. And yet they just simply don't have the skill of how to be here with what arises. And so that they might be really drawn to truth and willing and available and wanting to be here. And yet there are certain parts of their experience, or we can say our experience, there are certain parts of our experience that are not accessible because we just simply don't know how to be here. So when I speak about practice, that's what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about growing capacity to be here, growing an ability to be here. And so my curiosity is for you, for myself, for you, for everybody, when past arises, when past is present, when you find yourself in reactivity, when your nervous system is in fight, flight, overwhelm, collapse, when there's a lot going on in your physiology, then what is it that you reach for in that moment? Because this is part of, I'm going to be teaching this 3-week intensive coming up, breaking patterns of the past. And this is part of breaking the patterns of the past, is awareness, first awareness. What do you reach for when past is present? Do you try to distract yourself? And this is without judgment, right? Because we are all doing this. So we just want to investigate, do you reach for something to distract yourself? Do you want to talk to somebody? Do you want to eat? Do you want to watch television, do social media? What is it that you reach for? Even, we may even reach for a reading of a spiritual book, which sometimes just the impact or the energy of where the words are coming from is going to affect you positively. However, even reading of a spiritual book can be a postponement, can be a distraction from actually being present to what is. So when past is present, and remember, this is so powerful, most powerful, and let's do it right now. We are not going to do the whole process, but just let's, in this moment, if there's any situation, recently that has been causing you grief, that has been causing you reactivity or challenge, remember that this is the power of our attention. This is also the power of our trust in presence, that we can, right now sitting here, as you're remembering that situation, you can come into the present moment. And that means no matter how difficult it is, you can start noticing the sensations that are present in your body. Good, beautiful. And whatever you notice, wherever, you're able to bring your attention to, because that's just that moment of, the mind gets a little place of rest. It gets something to rest its attention on instead of incessantly just moving and going, right? And you can notice that instantaneously, things start to slow down, right? That instantaneously there's more awareness, there's more attention, there's more presence, there's more ability to be here. And of course, we have all these, different little ways of resourcing: feet on the ground, notice your legs, notice the weight of your body, and so on and so forth. And I will be sharing this, as always, this and so much more in our upcoming 3-week intensive, sharing this process also, and guiding you through it. This is a little more complex, the whole process of inquiry. And I want to invite you to join me, and we will be speaking about a lot of things, about what's going on right now in the world. And also we will be focusing on breaking the patterns of the past. And especially our early conditioning, because that early conditioning is still here. It doesn't matter, before or after awakening. These patterns, these survival strategies can be so strong, and they really take our attention, and especially under stress, especially when more is going on, especially when there's more challenge. So I want to invite you both to just really strengthen your practice. And that means trust. Sometimes it's really difficult to just even sit, because the patterns of the past, will tell you it's not safe. It's not safe to be here, right? But trust that you can. That there's nothing more powerful than your own attention. And I want to invite you to my 3-week or to our 3-week intensive coming up this Sunday. You can register now. And also, if you like these videos, please subscribe. Please subscribe to our emailing list. But also, somebody just told me recently, it really helps when you share these videos. I think that's a simple process on YouTube. So if you have friends or like-minded people or family or anybody that you think could benefit from this, just share this video, because we want, more good information out there, more of this out in the world right now. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you all soon. And let's just take a moment here, a little moment in silence.